Welcome to the Knitter's Gotta Knit podcast. This is Stitch 22.
Wow.
Today is July 11th, and we're podcasting when we said we would.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's like the second time we've done that.
And it almost didn't happen because I've been so busy this morning at work, and it's just been crazy. I mean, but we're actually running about 35 minutes late, but we're still going to try to get it done.
Yeah. So, it has been 3 weeks, but we don't have a whole lot because Darlene's been gone. She's been on vacation, and she had a fabulous vacation.
Didn't knit a stitch for 2 weeks.
Not one stitch.
Not what I did do some crocheting at night, mostly on this.
It looks fabulous. It's very large.
I'm sorry about that. I had a phone call I had to take. But what was I talking about?
Talking about crocheting.
Oh, I worked on this some at night. I mean, I didn't crochet every night because some nights I was just tired and didn't feel like it. But we rode about almost 6,000 miles on vacation.
That's a lot in 2 weeks. Yeah.
We went up to Canada and up to Montana and Wyoming and Utah, and we had a good time.
That's good. That's good. I didn't do a whole lot for 4th of July. I know you were gone for the holiday. I was really pretty lazy for 4th of July and just chilled at home. Jaime invited me to come and see some fireworks, and then my parents called and said they were going to this little Hyatt hotel thing over here, and they were going to watch some fireworks, and they wanted to know if I wanted to come. And I started thinking about it, and fireworks don't start till dusk.
Yeah, till it's dark outside.
And dusk here is about 8:45, 9 o'clock. Well, guess who's going to bed
I hear you.
8:45, 9 o'clock? I'm not waiting up for some fireworks because I still had to be at work on the 5th, early in the morning. So I was telling everybody, I said, we should get the 5th of July off. If, we're all staying up late for the 4th of July to watch the fireworks, we should get the 5th off. But, of course, nobody's going to listen to me on what days we should get off. But
and the 4th was on a Wednesday.
It was.
I mean, that kind of stinks.
Yeah, it kind of was.
And I think we were in Lubbock. I'm pretty sure we were in Lubbock we were on our way home. So I think we were in Lubbock, Texas on the 4th.
So I hope you guys had a happy 4th, whatever you guys decided to do. And I have a really crazy story.
You do.
So I'm not sure if you guys know this, and I know it sounds crazy, and I know that this should be like some fault of Google's, but they've been doing this for years, and I don't know if it's caused any other problems with anybody else, but Gmail, which is Google Mail, if you have a Gmail account, Gmail doesn't care if you have periods in your email account. So my name is Carrie Ramirez, and my Gmail is carrie.ramirez@gmail.com. I've had it for years and years and years. From the beginning of time, as far as I can remember, I've had this email account. I even have the opposite, ramirez.carrie@gmail.com. But every once in a while, I'll get an email for a different Carrie Ramirez. And I usually can ignore it. And it's not very often. Well, recently, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I get this email from eBay. And it says, "Welcome, Paul, to eBay." My name ain't Paul, and I can tell that it's coming to carrieramirez@gmail.com and not carrie.ramirez@gmail.com. I can tell that it was sent that way. Even though Google doesn't care, Gmail doesn't care, it's still coming into my inbox. I can at least tell in the header who it was addressed to. And it was addressed without the dot. So at first I ignored it, and I thought, all right, well, Paul will eventually figure out that he's got the wrong email address in his eBay account. And he ordered something, and I got an email, and I ignored it. That order shipped. I got an email, and I ignored it. And then a few days went by, and Paul was in a shopping mood because he bought like 50 things in like a 10-minute
Were they like
period.
Expensive things?
No, they were all different things. Jaime thinks that he just moved into a new apartment.
Oh.
There were sheets. There were little trinkets like salt and pepper shakers, like Tupperware salt and pepper shakers. There were lighters, a Betty Boop lighter. I can't even remember. You
just
think
small things.
Just small little things here and there. Some were $1 and some were $15. But nothing like massive or major. And of course, they were all being shipped to his address. The correct address was on his eBay. just the wrong email address was on his eBay. So I was getting all the emails. And once I got all those emails, I was like, oh no, this is not going to work for me. And I can't just block eBay because I do have an eBay account under carrie.ramirez@gmail.com. So I called eBay and I tried to explain to them. And they said, well, you need to call Google. That's a Google problem. I'm like, I know you would think it'd be a Google problem, but the problem really is that you didn't have him confirm his email address and he's sending all his emails to me. I'm getting the emails. And they're like, well, it's 2 different email addresses. I'm like, I know it's 2 different email addresses, but according to Google, it's not. It's one and it comes to my inbox. She's like, have you sent an email to carrieramirez@gmail.com? And I'm like, yes, I have. She goes, well, where does it go? And I said, it comes to me. To my inbox. It's the same thing. There's this article on it and everything. It doesn't matter if it has 20 dots in it.
That is insane.
I know it's insane, but they had this email this way for years, okay? I'm not saying they're right or they're wrong. I'm just saying I did not want to be getting all of Paul's emails when he ordered something on eBay. So eBay obviously was not going to help me. And the only other thing that I could think to do was I reset the password. Because when you go into eBay and you go to log in and you say, forgot my password, guess where they send the link to? They send it to your email. Guess whose email it was going to? It was going to my email. So I got the link to reset the password and I went in and I reset Mr. Paul's password.
I wouldn't have thought to do that.
I just didn't want to keep getting emails.
Well, I understand. I just wouldn't have.
Yeah, eBay wouldn't help me.
That.
And I felt pretty bad, poor Paul. And trust me, I could have ordered stuff. I could have changed the addresses on things, the whole 9 yards. But I'm not that kind of person. I just wanted to stop getting the emails. The only thing that I could think to do is to write this man a letter. And in my searching, of course, he has his address in his profile, but I can't find his phone number in his profile. But he has his address in his profile. And as I was researching him, it turns out his mother's name is Carrie Ramirez. That's why he used carrieramirez@gmail.com. Apparently he must have asked his mom what her email was, and that's what she said it was, and he used that or whatever. So I sent a letter both to Paul Peralta and to Carrie Ramirez. They're not far from here, actually. They're in Texas. All the stuff was being mailed in Texas. And I sent them a letter and I said, look, this is what happened. And I went through the whole story again. You've used my email address and not your email address. So here's what you can do. You can, 1, email me. Give me your real email address. I'll put it in the eBay account. I will give you your password. I'll give you the password that I set it to. And you can have your eBay account and go on your merry way, change the password and do whatever you want to with it. Or you can just ignore my letter. I mean, I'm going out of my way to send you this letter and open a new eBay account. Choice is yours. Just don't open it with my email address again. And sure enough, I heard from them. I heard from Carrie Ramirez, and I think she was a little panicked that I was stealing her things. Because she's like, I haven't gotten any emails with any shipping. That's
because I got them all.
That's another thing. First I got the 50 emails of all the orders. Then slowly all these emails are coming in saying order shipped, order shipped, order shipped. Now I'm getting emails, leave feedback, leave feedback, leave feedback. And anyway, she's like, do you know anything about my orders? And I want to know where my orders are. And not, I think she thought that I was taking her money in her orders.
Like you would call her and tell her that about this.
I would send her a letter and tell her I've stolen all your merchandise.
Well, no, that you were even involved in it in any way if you were stealing things.
And so again, I tried to explain to her, I did not take your money. I did not take your items. They're all being shipped where you want them to be shipped, where you said to ship them to. I'm just getting the emails. I didn't place any orders under your name. I'm not having anything shipped to my house. I didn't take any of your money because her little credit card was tied, the whole 9 yards. But I don't think that they changed it. I think they're just waiting to get their stuff and they're going to use a different eBay account.
Probably.
But as long as I don't keep getting, I understand that I'm getting the emails right now because it's finishing up the orders that, he ordered that big slew of. I did put their email address in it. Turns out her email is Carrie Ramirez with 7 numbers at the end. And her son just apparently didn't listen when he was doing it or whatever.
Okay, what did you say? Her name was at the end? What did you say?
Her real email address is Carrie Ramirez, and then it has 7 numbers. I'm not going to say the exact numbers, at gmail.com.
And he left off the numbers.
He left off all 7 numbers.
Wow. Oh, wow.
7 numbers.
Why would you put 7 numbers in your email address?
I don't know. I don't know. But
that's nuts.
Anyway, that's finally done. And I'm telling everybody this story, and they're like, well, why does Gmail do that? I'm like, that's not the point of my story.
No, the point is that it's that.
But I don't know why Gmail does that. So, if your name is whatever, Jane Doe, and you have jane.doe@gmail.com as your email address, if anybody goes in somewhere and puts janedoe@gmail.com, you're going to start getting all that.
But you know how whenever you open an account, like you open a new email account, it searches to see if that name is available.
Mm-hmm.
You would wonder why would they allow it any formatted name like whether it's Carrie.Ramirez or Carrie Ramirez. If they're going to ignore the dot, why they even let that name be registered?
I have no idea.
I mean that's why I'm thinking that's a bad design on their part if that's not a bug, which you say it's not a bug, but
there's an article about it. So there's this person, I don't know if you guys have heard of Slate.com. I like Slate.com. I like sometimes read Mrs. Manners or Dear Prudie or Dear Prudence or whatever. I think it's a fairly well-known news type columnist webpage type thing. And I Googled, does the dot matter in your Gmail account, whatever, and I came across this article from a guy at Slate.com, an editor or something, a person, and he was saying that he always thought the dot didn't matter, and he goes, and I would be wrong, because Google doesn't care, and the people that don't care is Google and Facebook. Facebook
Really?
doesn't care if you have a dot in your name.
They just ignore it.
In your email, they just ignore it. So, but Yahoo cares if you have a dot, and like Hotmail and MSN and probably every other carrier on the planet cares if you have a dot, but Gmail does not care if you have a dot.
So Gmail and Facebook's programmers had to program in to ignore the dot when they could have just let. Wow.
Yeah, I guess.
Wow.
So, and I'm sure I am not the first person that this has happened to. I'm sure other people have run into this issue with, somebody making a Jane.Doe account and then somebody else using JaneDoe@Gmail. I know people usually know their own email addresses, but when things like this, when the sun leaves off 7 digits at the end type of thing. And of course, eBay allowed them to make this new account with this new email address because they thought it was different than my email address, but it's really not. I know it is, but it's really not.
Okay, so what I just said don't make sense then, because what I was thinking, he made his mom's email account. He didn't.
No.
He just inputted it wrong in eBay.
In eBay.
Okay.
Yes. He put it wrong in his eBay account. He didn't put it wrong in the Gmail account.
Okay, gotcha.
He put it wrong in eBay.
Okay.
And that's what and that's when I was trying to explain to eBay that I changed his password, she was like, "Well, that's Google's problem." I'm like, "No, you don't understand. I didn't change the Gmail password of his because Carrie Ramirez@gmail.com is not his email. If he tries to get in there, he needs to use my password. I changed the eBay password," and she's like, "You what?" I was like, "Well, you're not going to help me." So he can't get into his account. So when Mr. Paul Peralta
then
calls,
he's going to have to call him.
Calls you, you let him know that I changed his password. And anyway, I sent a letter, and they got the letter within 2 days. And I was actually surprised. And I got the email. We got it all figured out. I'm still getting just a couple of trailer emails from the initial orders that he ordered. But it was just crazy. It was crazy. I was trying to tell, I was telling people at my work or whatever, and they're like, "Okay, that's weird." And I'm like, "I know it's weird, but what can I do about it?"
Yeah, that's weird.
So, you have anything else exciting happen to you?
No, I mean, we just vacation, but we were in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and that place is nuts. I mean, there's and it was a holiday week, and I mean, there's it's a little bitty town, kind of like Fredericksburg, and with thousands of people there. Well, Bruce and I, when we were trying to leave, we got separated because he went through a light, and when he got through the light, I couldn't get through. It had turned red. So he, went on down the road, and when I finally got through the light, there was these 3 couples that had just parked their Harleys on the street, and they were fixing to walk across the street. And so I stopped because, you know, it's kind of illegal to run over pedestrians, and it causes problems and all that kind of stuff. So I stopped, and, you know, so they could walk in front of me. And this man, it was so funny, he was like, any woman that rides a Goldwing has the right of way. And I was like, okay. So I went on.
I'm going.
Went on my merry way, but it was just funny.
That's cute. That's cute.
But this year is the first year that we have ever gone on vacation that, 1, we didn't take our dog, and 2, that we didn't take any guns.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we always carry a gun in each of our trunks, and we always carry a gun on us. And we couldn't this year because we were going to Canada, and Canada won't allow it in. And this year was the first year that I felt like I needed a gun. And it would not anything to do with Canada, but when we were on our way, we were in Colorado Springs, and we got separated. We were looking for a Walmart because I needed to get a few things that I forgot. And Bruce saw a Walmart, but whenever he saw it, when he took the exit, I couldn't take it. And so we got separated. I had to go on down, and I bet I had to ride almost 3 miles before I found an exit I could get off on. So I found an exit, and I got off. I went to this 7-Eleven convenience store, and the parking lot was packed. And so there was a liquor store right beside the 7-Eleven, so I parked there at the liquor store. And as soon as I turned my motorcycle off, these 3 homeless guys started walking up to me. And I mean, I just kind of panicked because, you know, I'm there by myself, you know, and I don't have any kind of weapon on me, and, you know, I'm in a foreign place. I mean, you know, I don't know Colorado Springs. So I just got off my motorcycle, and I got my phone out of my trunk, and then I locked it, and then I walked over to the convenience store, and I thought, if they take my ice chest, if they take my bag off the back of it, or they take my iPod, you know, I don't care. But I'm not staying there with the motorcycle.
Right.
And they didn't touch anything. And, you know, I mean, that's just your own prejudice of thinking that, you know.
When you're somewhere that you're not used to, you know.
I mean, I felt kind of bad that I kind of thought that they were going to mug me. But, you know, I didn't think that. I was just uncomfortable.
Of course.
You know. And so then I called Bruce, and I was telling him where I was at. And, you know, it took him about, 20 minutes to get to me because, you know, he don't know Colorado Springs either. But we've always said that if we get separated, and we've been on 15 motorcycle vacations, and I think we've got separated 3 times. And we've always said, you know, if we get separated, I'm going to be the one that always gets separated from Bruce because I follow Bruce.
Right.
And so he said, he's always told me, if you get separated, just go to the first place that's off the highway that's going to be easy to describe where you're at, and then, you know, I will come to you. You know, we don't want to be like both of us driving around a foreign place trying to find each other. So I stop, and then I let him know where I'm at, and he comes to me. But that was the only time that I've ever felt like on vacation that I actually needed a gun.
Like
even if I would have had it, I wouldn't have
used it.
I wouldn't have took it out, you know. But I mean, that thought went through my mind that, you know, here I am defenseless, you know, without anybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
And then we got to Denver, and that was so we left on a Friday. On Sunday, we were driving through Denver, and we thought stupidly that, you know, if we went through Denver on a Sunday, the traffic wouldn't be as bad. Traffic was horrendous, just like it always is in Denver. And Denver don't have HOV lanes, and I don't understand any city the size of Denver and, you know, Houston not having dedicated HOV lanes. I know Houston has this HOV system that don't make a damn bit of sense.
Nobody understands it. I guess maybe
except
if you live in Houston, maybe it makes sense.
But we were going through Denver, and it was on a Sunday, and there was the worst thunderstorm blew in.
I remember.
Oh my gosh. It delayed the baseball game for 2 hours, or an hour and a half or 2 hours. So, and it was raining so hard we couldn't see anything. So we pulled under an overpass and sat there under the overpass for about 2 hours.
Wow.
Waiting for it to quit raining.
Wow.
It was so bad, cars were pulling over. I mean, it was bad.
Wow.
So we were kind of glad to get out of Colorado.
I'm sure you were. I'm sure you were.
And then when we were leaving Colorado, we went through Fort Collins, and we wanted to get to Cheyenne, Wyoming that night. And thank goodness we were going toward Wyoming and not coming from Wyoming. There was a 7-car accident right at the state line of Wyoming and Colorado. And I mean, traffic was backed up for miles. And I hope no one was injured, but I don't see how no one wasn't injured, because there was 2 cars flipped over in the bar ditch. One car that had ran out into the trees, and then 4 other cars that was all mangled together on the highway. It was a bad wreck.
That's terrible.
And that highway, when you start getting up north, the traffic, once you get out of the big cities, is a lot lighter than our highway system here. So I thought, how did that even happen? That a 7-car accident,
Usually 7 cars aren't bunched up together.
No, not like it is here.
Yeah.
But I felt for those people sitting there, because I'm sure they sat there for hours and hours.
I'm sure.
So,
I'm sure.
But Canada was great. I mean, we got to Canada and figuring out the money and the buying the gas and things like that. Took some getting used to. We had to kind of calculate. If a town said it was 20 kilometers, that it was. How many miles it was. Mm-hmm. And we never really got it perfect, but we kind of, the longer we were there, we could estimate it better than we, but it was fun. We had a good time. And the people in Canada were so nice. I mean, they were.
That's great.
Oh, one more thing. So I don't know if any of y'all watch this show, but my family loves this show. It's called Heartland. Mm-hmm. And it's a Canadian show, and it's Canada's most successful and longest running series.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And it's got the same actors. It's been on it since day one, with a few new ones in here and there. But our granddaughters and me and Bruce, we love it. We watch it all the time. And so Bruce is like, I wonder where they filmed that. So I looked up where they film it and found that they filmed the ranch part. They have 4 locations. They have the ranch setting that is actually a private working ranch, and you can't go to it. They won't even tell you where it's at.
Right.
And then they have the vet clinic at a different location and something else at a different location. But, excuse me, Maggie's Restaurant is a big, everybody goes to Maggie's Restaurant. It's kind of like the place to go in Hudson. And so we found out that that set is actually in the town of High River.
Okay.
And so we went to High River just to go to see that set. And so we got to High River, and I mean, it's right there in downtown, the restaurant, and it looks exactly like it does on the show. And I took some pictures and sent to Brinley and Peyton, and they both thought that was
the coolest
thing that we were at Maggie's Cafe from Heartland.
I'm sure.
And then I was going to buy Brinley and Peyton a T-shirt, a Heartland T-shirt, but you had to buy it from the Western store, and they wanted $54 for those.
A T-shirt?
Guess what they didn't get?
Your $54. Your $108.
Yeah, yeah. So,
and the grandkids did not get a T-shirt.
They did not. They did not get the T-shirts, but it was neat to see the cafe. And, because they actually filmed it on that street. So the stores that are in front of Maggie's Cafe and beside Maggie's Cafe are real working stores.
Oh, wow.
And we went and we were like, oh, we went in that store. So it was kind of cool.
That is cool.
So
that is really cool.
But.
Well, I don't have anything else exciting. My dogs are getting along fine. They got to meet Paige's dog, Jazz. They weren't all that impressed, but they lived. They
That's
survived.
Good.
So I'm just learning all the little nuances with the new dogs and things of that nature. But
I think us leaving Susie, because we left Susie for 2 weeks, and we've never done that before. I think it was good for her.
I think it was good for her too.
Because she's more social. Like after we got her home, I mean, she's been playing with Brinley. My granddaughter Brinley is here for the week.
The motocross
one. After her race Saturday, she came home with us, and she's staying with us for the week. And Susie's been playing with her, and she just seems more outgoing. So I think her.
That's good.
Yeah, it is good. I think her staying with Shyla was a good thing. I think it was good for her.
Well, that's good.
But my grandkids, I tell you, they're scattered everywhere. Trenton is with his other grandparents in Cancun, and he'll be home Sunday.
I'd like to be there with him.
He's been there for 12 days.
Wow.
Yeah, he went deep sea fishing yesterday. I have a picture I'll send you. He caught a tuna.
That is awesome.
Isn't that cool? So he's there. Kagan got back from Europe, and now she's in Florida at church camp. Peyton is in Bandera at an Eco Girls camp. And Brinley's here. And then next week, when Brinley goes home, she goes home. Bruce is taking her home on Friday, and on Sunday she goes to motorcycle camp. And I mean, it's like they are like scattered everywhere.
They're busy during the summer.
Super busy kids.
Almost as busier than the school year.
So yeah.
Well, I'm gonna jump into the knitting. Darlene doesn't, like she said, she hasn't knit for 2 weeks, so not a stitch, just a little bit of crocheting, and I don't blame her. You know, she's on vacation, so I only have one finished object. My mom's socks.
They're awesome.
Which I was so close to finishing on last podcast anyway, so I finished these quite some time ago. My mom's probably wondering when she's ever going to get them. I'll insert a picture. And, but I'll tell her when she can have them.
And this is the yarn that Jessica from Germany sent us.
Yes, thank you, Jessica. And my mom's going to love them. I know she will. And then I have a couple of stash enhancements, but it's not yarn. So I ordered some mitt blockers. And when
just because you wanted them, or are you going to knit mitts?
I think I wanted them in because I'm going to knit mitts. And I had a pair of mitts. I have a picture. I should have brought my mitts up here. They're downstairs in my purse of all things. But I have a picture of my mitts on them that I'll insert in here. But the thumb is removable. And everybody's like, what is that thing? It's the thumb. If you want to, if you have a thumb. Not if you have a thumb, but if you want a thumb in your mitts.
And I don't know why you wouldn't want a thumb in your
There's
mitts.
some where people just knit it straight and then they leave this open and then
just a slit thing.
Just a slit thing. So then you obviously wouldn't need this, but you could still, use it. But it is removable in case you don't want it, or I don't know, maybe people put socks on these things. They're very pretty, very sturdy wood.
Very pretty.
They're from the Ukraine. A guy named Alex. I got them on Etsy, and I was super excited to get them. So I have those.
They're pretty.
And then I got a new ball winder. I'm going to have to insert a picture in here because I didn't bring it because I was afraid I was going to break it by carrying it in and moving it and all that stuff. But it's a wood one that I got from Etsy, and I really like it. So I had that Oregon red one or whatever, that jumbo ball winder that's got like 2 things where you can put your yarn through.
That one too, and I'm not a fan.
I'm not the biggest fan, but it does do a pretty big cake of yarn if you've got, like a Wollmeiser or something. And then I also had my small blue royal, which I used that probably more than the big red one, but my small blue royal one broke. Not by anything of Royal's fault.
It just wore out.
It actually got hit. The grandkids were playing and it got hit and the bottom snapped. So, and so it won't connect. I mean, you can still wind yarn holding it, but it doesn't clasp to anything, and I threw it away. Because I'm not going to hold it.
No.
So I got a new ball winder, and I really do like it so far. I've only used it 2 or 3 times, but I am enjoying it. So I'll get that picture in there, and
that's awesome.
Yeah. So those are my little stash things, and then.
But speaking of mitts, and you have to help me remember to do this because I will forget. But my son-in-law asked me last year to make him a pair of gloves for hunting, and I never made them. So you have to remind me that before hunting season gets here, I have to make Tim some gloves.
Okay. All right. Before hunting season gets here. It's around Halloween. So.
Shoot, I better get busy.
Yeah. It's the first weekend of November, I think. It's different per county, so I'm not sure what Castroville's area is.
But he asked me last year, and I didn't get them made, and I need to get them made for him.
And he just wants his trigger finger out, right?
Yeah, he wants full fingers on everything except his trigger finger.
Okay. And then since Darlene's working on her Augusta shawl, that's one of my whips. I have 6 whips. I'm a little embarrassed that I have 6 whips.
Well, you go do yours and then I'll do mine because I only have 3.
Well, we can do one at a time. I just wanted to pull this out while you have yours out.
Okay.
So I did finally hit a color change. I thought I would never.
Oh yeah, you did.
I thought I would never hit a color change.
Wow,
I have a
yours is
picture
big.
to insert, but I've actually hit 2 color changes. It's just really hard to see the second one already. But I am enjoying it. It's nice and relaxing, and it will go to the lake house with me. We have our lake house retreat coming up this Friday. So 3 days of knitting, hopefully.
Hopefully.
And crocheting.
But this, so I have yarn like this too. It's that wool trim yarn, and I was having a really hard time with that Augusta pattern. I didn't understand the ends, so I went to Hobby Lobby and I bought some Yarn Bee sugar cotton, and it's the softest yarn.
It's very soft.
But I wanted an inexpensive yarn that would take ripping it out. But I ripped it out about 4 or 5 times, maybe more than that, before it clicked on what I was doing wrong on the ends. So, but I think it's kind of pretty.
It's
and so
beautiful. It really is. I'll take a picture and insert it.
I want to finish it.
I mean, we can hold it up.
So, but I
just
think
don't know what the camera does every time
yeah,
I try and
I don't know.
focus or unfocus.
But I think I want to get 2 more skeins of this and make it 2 more skeins bigger, because that's not, to me, that's not going to be big enough. So, but
It's
I think
not going to be big enough for our bodies.
no. But
We're definitely extra large
I might
bodies.
finish it and just give it to Peyton, because she would probably love it. You know,
She probably would.
but
But there's nothing wrong with getting 2 more.
I think it's pretty, and I've been enjoying it. And then after I figured it out, I told Carrie that I had to rip out my Augusta and start it over, because you know it was wrong. I had a lot of mistakes on the other one.
It was shaped.
Yeah, it was weird. So I ripped it out, and after I got home from vacation, I ripped it out, restarted it, and this is where I mean, it's a little bitty, but
it looks so much better, and it is very beautiful.
it does look better. And I'm thinking, am I gonna hit a color change pretty soon? I can't really. I think so.
I think you're gonna hit that dark green.
Dark green.
She probably is.
So, but I am enjoying it, and I'm enjoying it a lot more now that I know what I'm doing. You know.
Well, I think it's always more enjoyable when you know what you're doing.
But this yarn is really soft. It's really nice to work with.
It is. And I've worked with another yarn that's like this. It's not the same brand, but it's the same concept of 4 strings, threads, or whatever put together. And then, you know, 1 thread changes at a time, you know, to make it more gradient. And it was not as soft as this. And I think this is much softer.
I've had to quit looking at her website, because her yarn is so beautiful. I mean,
It is very
every time I look
beautiful.
at it, I'm like, oh, I want that one. I want that one. And it's like, I don't need all of those.
No, you don't.
So I just had to make myself stop looking at her shop every day.
Yeah, I have to stop looking at buying yarn to keep me from buying yarn as well. My other whip is, of course, Paige's socks. They're my podcast knitting. So that's another whip. And then, while Darlene was gone, I didn't want to work on my 5, because I knew she wasn't working on her 5. So I thought, what do I want to pull out that's old that I could work on? And I pulled out, this is a Mystery Cal, which is, of course, no longer mystery because it's so old, Advent calendar from last year. It's by Bridget Koch. She does one every year. When I picked this up, I was done with clue 1.
That's so pretty.
Down here. I'm not a big lace knitter, guys. I have a picture to insert, and it's not blocked, so it's hard to see. But there's 12 clues, and this is 1, and then you put beads, and then 2 beads, 3 beads, 4 beads, 5 beads, 6 beads. I'm on 7, and after I do 7, I'll need beads. It only goes to 12.
It's
and
beautiful,
then I bind
though.
off. Thank you. It's with Volmiza yarn, lace yarn that I've had. I mean, I've had the yarn.
Gosh.
And I am enjoying it, but it is a thinker. So this is kind of what I've done while Darlene was gone, because I literally was before the beads.
That. Shala would love that.
I was before the beads down here. And she'll have another one this year. So it'll start like December 1st. And then she'll have 12 clues come out. And by the time you're done with all 12 clues, your shawl is done.
That's so pretty.
It's about it's supposed to take about 800 yards. So it's going to be just a large stole. And it's not blocked, but so
It's
this
really
is
pretty.
I do have, 5 more clues, 5.5, but I have been enjoying it. So thank you, Bridget, for that Great pattern.
So my only other thing, I didn't bring Shannon's sweater. I am through with all the pieces, but I wanted to be finished with the pieces so bad before vacation. And I was about maybe 40 or 50 rows before I would be done with the right side of his front, and that was the last piece. So Carrie finished the right front from me.
I finished it the night she left. It was super quick.
She finished it the night I left because I just wanted it done. I wanted to come home and all of the pieces be done. So I didn't bring it because all of the pieces were in Brinley's bedroom, and I didn't want to wake her up this morning when I was leaving, and I didn't think about getting it out last night. So I didn't bring that, but hopefully by the next podcast I can just show the finished sweater.
With it all seamed up.
But this is my 5, and it's had to be started over a couple of times, but it's finally going okay, and it's out of Wool Miza yarn.
Yeah, we showed this last time that we podcast, that we were going to start it. We hadn't started it. And I think I have a picture of the pattern. I've got all this stuff all next to me. Here we go. All 5. I don't remember who it's by. Nicola Susan. I'll have a link in the show
And this
notes.
pattern, if Terry wouldn't have did all of the math for this pattern, I would have never tackled this. Because
it's a math one.
You have to do this, you have to take measurements and then do the calculations so I told Carrie, I said, I'll do it with you, but you got to write me a pattern that I can understand. So she did all the calculations and wrote it all out, and I think it's going to be an amazing sweater.
I did work on it one time while Darlene was gone. I had a doctor's appointment and yearly physical, and I should have taken Paige's socks, but I didn't think of them at the time, and I just needed to grab something as I was going out the door. And that lace stole would not have worked in a doctor's office. I was at a beads point, and I needed to put beads on, so I just grabbed this, and it did get a little bit of waiting room knitting, which is the only reason why mine's a little farther than hers.
Well, I had to start mine over too,
did.
because I was doing my increases wrong.
So it's not far, but it is going. This is also going to the lake house with me, and I'm hoping that this is the one that I work on the most.
All I'm taking to the lake, I think, is my green Augusta shawl and my 5, and I think that's all I'm taking.
Okay, I will probably join you in that with one more exception, and it's what I'm about to show.
Okay.
Tour de Sock has started. The pattern dropped Saturday at 7 a.m., but I didn't get to knit Saturday, so I didn't get these started until Sunday. It's a very pretty pattern.
Oh, those are pretty.
I'm using a very old skein of Mrs. Babb's Yummy Toes, Yummy 2-ply toes. It's from the 2014 Maryland Sheep and Wool Show. It's the Maryland Sheep and Wool Show color that year.
So is this the first pattern?
This is the first pattern. So it's called Maryland 2014, inspired by tulips.
When do you have to have them done?
I have to have them done by next Wednesday.
Oh.
If I don't finish them by the weekend, they won't be done by next Wednesday. So they'll have to get done by the weekend. So I have both legs done. There's minimum requirements. It's a 6 repeat.
Give Tammy one and Melissa one at the lake.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. Hear that, Tammy and Melissa? You guys each are getting a sock to finish. So it's a 6 repeat minimum. So I have 6 repeats on this one. And I have my 6 repeats on this one. And I've already started the heel flap. I mean the flap. I haven't started to turn the heel yet. So that's the next step. So, working them in tandem like I always do. And then I will also take my Augusta, my 5, and my socks, just because I need to get these socks done.
If I can manage to get a pair of socks started, I would like to take a pair of socks, but the way this week is going, I'm probably not going to get it. I'm going to be lucky to get myself packed.
I'm going to be lucky to get myself packed. I've been thinking about what to pack, so now we have that decided. So that's it. We knew it'd be a short one.
Yep.
And it is. We do have the new cowl thread open for the set of needles that we're going to give away along with those Pandali clicks from Hiya Hiya. It's going to go for 6 months, so you've got plenty of time. Everybody wanted whips, so put your whips in there. And I guess we'll record in about 2 more weeks. I don't think we have to go 3 this time, so we'll be here about 2 more weeks. I don't know what date that falls on. But I guess we'll see you then.
Okay, bye.
Bye.